Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your emotional subliminal hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other emotional and subliminal host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Hi, Andy. I always think of anytime I
Struggle.
hear the word subliminal, I just go right to Clockwork Orange and
Yeah.
and then I flash to like the Simpsons references, right? Or Bart's
Yes.
like standing under the cupcakes, like unable to
Yes.
grab them.
Whereas
So,
I immediately jumped to Sublime, the band,
uh-huh,
and started
uh-huh.
singing. My
And
stupid
that
brain.
basically tells a lot about
Both of us.
yes.
Yeah, so true.
Um, so we had an election here. I don't know if anyone's
Oh,
really
okay.
paying
Uh-huh.
attention to that or not, but we voted. The people voted. Most of the people voted, and
Sure.
that's 50% of the people voted.
Yeah.
And we have a president coming in January,
Mm.
and so it's just been a lot of uh division in our country right now,
I
and
understand.
yes,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm not sure like how much of it is like affecting the rest of the world.
it is enormous. Like you need to understand that there are people who like literally stay up overnight to watch the American election in this country who to
Oh
watch
wow.
results. So like it's because
Oh
like
yeah, we don't do that.
no, I mean, for better or for worse, like America has such an outsized influence on all the different countries in the world, So like it
Yeah.
is, I think some people don't realize quite how much. So it's like it is definitely something we are all kind of keeping an eye on, and it's also like news, like all the kind of news agencies just go nuts about it. They're just talking about it all the time. So yeah, fun, a real crazy door that we've all stepped through.
Right,
Let's just put
right.
it that way.
Yeah.
Let's see how the next few years go.
Woohoo.
Yeah, good luck and everything.
Yeah. The latest is you know, I'm not going to get too far into it, but
Sure.
certain people feel like they're now given a certain amount of words that they can speak, and so it's like all these dudes posting on like Twitter like your body my choice.
Yeah, I've heard this.
So it's like it's just kind of like the there's some interesting folks coming out of the woodwork.
That's yeah, that's
So,
sad those guys feel empowered, to be perfectly
right.
honest with you.
hmm
But
But
yeah.
in more fun news, I am
Hmm.
now no longer recording and broadcasting out of the teddy bear den of doom.
I'm Barbie House,
Barbie had Barbie Dream House.
Barbie Dream House headquarters.
I have my own, I literally have my own space.
Uh-huh.
I have curtains like a grown up. I have a desk.
Oh,
I
excuse you.
know, I know. And I can actually like see the top of the desk and the
Mm.
floor, and it's just weird.
La-di-da.
It's weird. I know.
See on the top of your desk, excuse me.
And like I never said anything, but I was just like so jealous that you had your own room and your
Yeah.
own space and you just sit down and you press record and like you're not like hauling all the shit around and like setting you
Oh,
saw
that's
me.
true.
You
Yeah, I had
had
to
to
do
do it
it.
with me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
So
mean,
now I just kind of move the microphone and I get up and I walk away.
that's good.
And I
Perfect.
think that things magically edit themselves. It's amazing.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I know. They just
When you get a desk.
click of your fingers.
I feel like I should like make a montage and a musical about like this experience because it's
It's
been so great. Anyways, enough about me. How are you?
I'm good. I
I mean, what's
have
the crack?
what's correct. I so there comes a time in an
Mm.
adult's life where the washing machine breaks down. So it was
I
not
thought
good.
you were
Law.
gonna say you get a. I thought you were gonna say you get a snuggie
No.
or a
I
slanket.
I mean, like, I kind of like I have a weighted blanket, so let's face it, it's not too
Yeah,
far off.
yeah,
I've
no,
had that
no,
for years.
yeah.
Um, so that was fun. So it's always like, it's one of these things you're like, God damn it, that's just, I don't need to spend money on a new washing machine, but it's all done now. It's in, it was paid for, it's sorted. But that was a fun weekend treat. I also I wasn't. This isn't on my list of things. I do have a list of stuff to tell you about. I have my readers. I have my readers.
They look
How did?
great.
Thank you.
They look great. They look like your sunglasses, but they're
Yeah,
readers.
and they've been great for like, because like I mentioned to you before, the book, A Prayer for Old Meanie that I've been reading, really
Mhm.
small text, fantastic, and it's made me read it a lot more quickly. So it's been very nice. It's just not like I'm pacing through it, but like I was like squinting and stuff like that in certain words, and I was like, this is just not a fun experience. So yeah, it's been great.
Good.
Um,
Welcome to the world of readers. Mike just got his progressives.
oh yeah,
Or he hasn't gotten them yet, but like he had to go, he was like, "Oh, gonna go to the eye doctor." And I was like, "You need someone to drive you." I was like, "They're gonna do like all the old people tests and stuff, because
oh
he's like
yeah.
ancient. He's like 3 years older than me." So he was like, "No, no, I'll be fine." I was like, "No, like." So, but yeah, he got his, but he's got like, he calls it his Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass. And I walk in his office sometimes and he's got
Amazing,
his
really.
magnifying glass and he's
Oh
reading through
shit.
documents. And I'm like, dude, it's just time. You can't haul that thing around with you.
Yeah. Have you got a photo of him doing that?
I'm pretty sure we need to make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. Just sneak in and just catch him unawares.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank
It's
you,
great.
thank you.
It's like I'm doing all this painting now that I wasn't doing before just because my fucking readers.
Yeah. It's just, you know what was really good? A really kind of big plus that I hadn't considered was that I was like trimming my fingernails the other day and I'm like, oh, I can see these much better now.
Yeah.
I can actually do a half decent job, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like relatively uneventful time apart from that. I had a dog I was looking after who is a dog. I had forgotten he was coming, but like, and that sometimes when you're forgetting a dog's coming, it's like, oh God. But like, whenever he turned up, I was like, yes, he's like my favorite. He's such a sweetheart. And so I only had him overnight, but it was always it's always a joy to have him.
That's so great.
Um, the last thing, and I was going to talk to you about this off pod, but I feel like other people might be curious about it too. So there is a book I believe I told you about that I read a few years ago, and the book is called Say Nothing. And it's a kind of a historical account. It's written by a historian about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, predominantly about the kind of Catholic side of the Troubles. Like he even at the end says, like, this is only a fraction. I didn't even really touch in the kind of Protestant side, but it was a great read, and I really loved it because there was a lot of stuff that I really fully didn't understand about the situation over here. Anyway, there is a Hulu show coming out in like a few days. Yep.
I'm
Uh,
jazz handsing
yep.
right now.
So it is looks good. The reviews of it are good. So I think it might be worth it. So anybody who like I have not seen this show and I'm kind of wondering how they're going to make a fictional show out of the nature of the book. But if the reviews are good, if it might kind of and like even the trailer that I've seen, it's definitely shot in Belfast, at least partially. So
Does it have the same title as the book?
yeah, it's called Say Nothing.
Huh.
And it's going, yeah, I say I'm pretty certain it's arriving. I think it's the 11th, which is, oh, maybe today actually. It's definitely this week. So keep your eyes open for that, folks, if you want to learn about Northern Ireland, maybe a wee bit more, and the kind of situation here over the years. The other thing I need to say about that is when I think about that book and people ask me what the title is, I always want to say Don't Speak, which just is because I'm such a big No Doubt fan,
Gonna
apparently.
say, wait a minute. Not one of the
Don't,
best either.
no. No. But there you go. And maybe more of a Gwen Stefani fan than No Doubt fan, perhaps. But yeah, so that's yeah, it looks interesting, and I think that might be worth checking out. So yeah. Do you have any what's occurring this
I do.
week?
Someone was very excited that you dropped the Wimpy's Burger Chain
Oh
reference.
shit, really?
Yeah. And then I was like, I forgot already what it was.
Yeah.
So what's a Wimpy's Burger?
Wimpy's Burger is just basically our sort of equivalent of McDonald's. Like
Mhm.
so for a while whenever we didn't and like I think they still exist. In fact, I know they still exist within the greater UK. But whenever we didn't have McDonald's and stuff like that, we would have had a
Go to
Wimpy's.
Wimpy's.
Yeah.
We have like Whataburger.
Yeah. You
What do
just
we
got
have? A lot
like
of we have
a
so many burger
billion
chains.
chains.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
Wendy's
yeah.
and like
Carl's
Jack in the Box,
Jr.
which is yeah. which yeah, there's a lot. Um, but what we don't have on the coast that I'm on is White Castle
Yeah,
hamburgers. Have you ever had White
I
Castle?
have. Oh, go on.
Yeah.
I should maybe tell you about my White Castle experience, actually.
Everybody has a White Castle experience. Not and like you can get them frozen here, but you can't
Yes.
get, the full experience. But like they're like tiny little square hamburgers. And I
Hmm.
remember my grandpa being like, these hamburgers, they taste like sawdust and I can't stop eating them.
The addictive quality to them.
Yes, yes. So what's your White Castle story?
Okay. So I um used to work for Allstate. I believe I've told you this before. And for a chunk of time, me and a group of other guys, and it was mostly guys in our team, were sent over to Chicago for like 4 or 5 months, I'd say. And like me and two of my friends in particular were like, while we're in a place, we love to travel, we love to eat in different places, we love to do all sorts of different things. So we thought, shall we do a road trip to Detroit one weekend with no particular plans?
Who did you go see? It was
Kid Rock.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Which is like,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like he and Eminem are, they're big Detroiters, so
Yeah. And I don't regret it. It was a good experience. And like he wasn't certainly as problematic as he is now. But like, that's you're maybe gonna debate whether Kid Rock's problematic, but I'm sticking with that word. And it was great. I had a great time. But while we were there, we really didn't fully understand the enormity of the situation in Detroit, as in like the city center. Now, this has changed as of now, but the city center was really kind of dilapidated and run down. There was just nothing there, basically. And we were just like, let's go and eat somewhere. And there was a White Castle in downtown Detroit that we were like, let's stop here and go in and have some food, right? And we went in. There was bulletproof glass like above the counters. Like you couldn't get into the counters at all. It was all kind of sealed off completely. We there was like a really this wee old lady who really took a shine to me and was like talking to me. I think she wanted me to hug her and stuff like that. I really couldn't make her
oh.
out. And I was just like, I don't, and I was kind of overwhelmed. We sat down at a table. A guy sat down in front of us with a briefcase, opened the briefcase. He had like watches and chains and stuff. And he's like, do you want to buy anything? And we're like, oh no, what have we done? So it was like kind of an intense experience, but we had our food and we got the hell out of there fast.
Actually, that happens, that's part of their chain.
That's one of that's one of the staff members is just like
Yes.
selling stuff to us. Yeah, that makes sense.
You automatically, you sign up, they hire you, you get your briefcase.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I like it. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense
So they
actually.
hire
Okay.
shysters to
That
hang out
makes
at the restaurant.
that makes me feel a lot more safe about our experience. I love it. Oh, so yeah,
That's a
so that
good
was
one.
fun. So yeah, it was fun. Um,
You
okay,
got
good.
any occurring?
Yeah, okay, right. So Beth, I need you to just play along here, okay?
Okay. I love these.
Okay. Hey Beth, do you like
Yes, Andy.
yoga?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Do you like dogs?
Yes, I do.
Well, oh boy, do I have an Instagram recommendation for you. Please follow up_dog_Andy for all your yoga and our dog needs. Thank you. So
Yay.
yeah,
What is
that's
it? What is it? One more time?
it's Up Dog Andy, which is so I'm basically, just to let you know, folks, I am, as some of you do know, obviously I do a bit of yoga stuff, I do a bit of dog walking, I do a bit of like dog business, let's call it. And I'm kind of relaunching my business Instagram account. So it's Up Dog Andy, it's up_dog_ Andy. If you could give me a follow, I would certainly appreciate it.
He also posts photos of him and dogs.
Yeah. Once a week, you'll get a new dog pic. I mean, if that doesn't bring you along, I don't know what will.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, and I'm going to start putting up some more yoga content as well. But I feel like give the people what they want, which is more dogs,
Right.
and I have a lot of dog pics. Don't you worry, more than enough to do for many a year. So yeah, so that's all I have for what's occurring. Shall we move into our topic?
I think we're avoiding it, aren't we?
We are avoiding it. So it's Okay, let's just talk about it first because I feel like I'm going to jump in otherwise. So
Okay.
I have titled today's episode as S.A.D with a dot in between them. Because that not only is it, sad, it's also seasonal affectation disorder, right? Which
Yes.
is kind
Yes.
of like what we're talking about, which is like, the changing of the seasons, how that affects people, how that affects us, how we feel about it, what we can do about it, those sorts of things. Because I know it is something that affects a lot of people. And I just, the past, I'd say, few years of my life, I have heard more people talking about it and talking about uh, um, especially in this country, and I know you can relate from your time in Oregon, where the dark weather comes in and things like that. It's definitely something worth thinking about.
Yeah. I think, it's weird going from, I'm still not used to not having it get like it would be like my birthday in early October, and then like right after that, like winter would come.
Yeah,
Not winter, but like the rains, and then, daylight savings. So it gets darker earlier, much earlier. And like
yeah,
just the wet leaves
yeah.
and the mold,
I was,
and putting away all your summer clothes, and like
yeah.
just knowing that you have to hunker down.
I was raking wet leaves on the weekend as well. And I was like, oh, as if I couldn't feel a bit more depressed. But like it
Hmm.
even happened. We were at a yoga class, or I was with my sister at a yoga class on Sunday morning, and the yoga teacher was like, whenever the sun came out, she was like, "Yeah, yes, it's the sun, hooray!" Because we hadn't seen it all bloody week. And
Yeah.
see, once you feel it hitting your face after, like, I mean, I know a week doesn't sound that long. It is kind of like, oh my God. I've missed you.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
like it's interesting here where I live, in Southern California, like it doesn't look any different. Like there's maybe two or three trees in the neighborhood that are, shedding their leaves, but the majority of them don't.
Yeah.
So, and like we had over the weekend, we had a big windstorm where like for I don't know what it is in kilometers, but like we had 30-mile-an-hour winds,
Okay.
35-mile-an-hour winds. And so like all the leaves that were going to come off the trees came off the trees, you know, and it's bad enough for fire danger that sometimes they'll shut the grid off. So they'll shut your power off
Oh,
because they don't want a telephone pole, like
yeah.
the fire danger's so high that
Yes.
they're worried that the winds then, if something happens, the winds will blow it. And when they're when they're that strong, it's like that fire just goes. And actually, north of us about 2 hours is like Ventura County,
Hmm.
and they had, I think, 120 houses burned down over the weekend. So it's like that's
It,
fall here.
it's so nuts. Like, one of the things that surprised me when I was out visiting Beth was that like there were signs everywhere for the kind of degree of danger from forest fires, and like it never went anything under a low. It was either at low or extreme, I think was the highest. Isn't
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah. So we're at extreme right now because of the
Yeah.
wind. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I don't know, like I do wake up and look at the sky and I'm like, thank God it's blue. Like it
Yeah.
feels so good just to wake up. But I'm still, and like I have the same question for you, like, how are you doing right now? And like, I'm not doing well right now. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's just because like, you know, the seasonality of things. And like, even though I don't live in a place that has seasons necessarily, it's just part of like our genetics, you
Yeah.
know?
That's true.
Because like I have seasonal depression right now for sure, and it's 80 degrees and sunny. So
That's interesting. And
yeah,
because it was kind of like and it was last Friday. I was having a conversation with somebody, and I'd said that another friend had reached out and asked, "How are you doing? How's the black dog?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I get depressed sometimes because like." I feel like whenever I am in the good reality, it feels like that's the only reality. But whenever but it's the opposite problem whenever I'm in a kind of negative space where it feels like this is all there is and this is all there ever has been, you know. I had, I think, just over a month from my trip over to see you guys where I was just like great. I was feeling great. I was definitely coasting off a wee bit of that energy of just being away. I was seeing friends. But then I just hit it. Like I felt it coming too. I even talked to my friend. I didn't feel it then, but the next day I just felt, uh-oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
And it just hit in. And it has been, it was cold as soon as I came back. It really was. It hasn't got super cold as yet. It's only really happened over the past. Today actually was the worst day for it, but um certainly the gray skies have been here. I have been struggling with that, I've got to say. Like I
And it's like always gray, right? When you say
Yes.
gray, like it doesn't necessarily rain, but you just have that like high, like the clouds are really high up in the sky
Yeah.
there,
It's like
but it's just
not
like it's so close to the sun yet so gray.
yes. And like
So it's
I
this weird dimension. Like I
it
don't know how
is.
to explain it.
And it's just a blanket of clouds, and you even come, I think you come to like in this country, be able to read the clouds and kind of go, okay, rain's coming soon, or because they'll be darker or they'll just be angrier looking. And but like there's certain set of clouds you're like, yeah, this is just cloudy today, and that's all it's gonna be. But like, we do get streaks. We get streaks like maybe a few days or maybe a week where there isn't much clouds and we get that winter sun, which is really lovely. I really love being out in a crisp autumn day in the kind of autumn sun. But like in the lead up to this, I think when I came back, it's interesting because whenever I'm in a good mental place, I tend to have like clear outs. So I did like I think I talked to you before, I had like a clothing clear out, I had a book clear out, I cleared out my room in a big way. And I know I have space for those things whenever I'm on the upswing, whereas I don't really a lot of the times when I'm on the downswing. Um so yeah, it's just about kind of noticing those signs. But one of the things I did in the upswing to kind of prep me for this was I was like, okay, I know this is probably coming for me. So I was like, let me start taking vitamin D tablets and let me
Yeah.
start doing a few things that can prepare for this. So I have, and I've taken vitamin D tablets over the past 2 weeks now. But like, that was before I started, sliding down into this place again. So I don't know how effective they have or are going to be, but I'm gonna keep it with it and see if it makes a difference.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I think you need to take like when your immune system is compromised, you need to take like 10,000 IUs, but
Yeah.
like I take 5,000 IUs and I live in California.
Yeah.
And then to actually learn this the other day, you need to take vitamin K for your body to really absorb the vitamin
Oh,
D.
yes.
So if you're noticing that like maybe it's not hitting you right, try to order some vitamin K and take that
Okay.
as well. Because,
I
can't be just one thing. It's got to be
I
like
know, isn't it? I
four.
know, I know, I know. But I think,
And insurance doesn't cover that shit.
yeah, I, I'm just aware. No, God, no. I'm just kind of aware that, like, and I'm sure I've discussed it on here, like the past few post-Christmas seasons for me have been really tough. I'd say I've had 3 or 4 months of really kind of poor mental health, and I really don't want that to happen again if I can avoid it. So I'm trying to make a lot of effort to kind of head that off the path. Um, and I think it is both the nature of the weather, the time of year, how cold it is, but it's also, I find the weight of Christmas really kind of heavy, and I kind of feel, you know, I feel much more lonely around Christmas than I do any other
Yeah,
kind of
there's,
time of the year.
yeah. Normally, like this is going to be our first Christmas home,
Yep.
and I don't, Mike's parents are going
Yes,
to
sure.
come, but like I don't know. And like for us, Christmas is like we open presents, we have cake. we have bouche de Noel and then we go to the beach and that's
Yep.
it, right? It's not like a whole thing. So I don't know. I hate
Yeah.
Christmas. I
Like,
feel
I
like a
went
Scrooge, but
I've went through periods in my life where I've loved it, and I think I
yeah,
still love the run up, the lead up to Christmas, and I'm still quite looking forward to that. Yet this year I've got like a lot of things lined up with people, um, and I'm looking forward to that, as I say, and also, I'm planning a trip. I've booked a trip with my friend between Christmas and New Year's, or actually I'm going to stay a bit longer past New Year's. Um, because I find that period particularly rough. So it's like if I'm with my friend, I'm gonna like stay with the body. We're gonna see other friends of ours. It's just I'm just really looking forward to being in their company for a while. So I think that'll help massively. But I just need to. Like, I did the same thing last year, but I need to I don't know,
but
find something lasting from that.
yeah, and I think just in terms of planning things out, knowing you don't want to like knowing I think the word triggered is being overused, but like
Yes.
knowing the things that kind of like will get you down,
Yeah.
being alone,
Yeah.
doing too many doggy overnights.
Yeah. I am.
I
I've only
mean,
got one
being
more.
stuck in your
Oh, two
house,
more.
not being active, like
Yes.
what these things are. So like right now, I'm kind of like my depression's not good. But like I was on the horn with my therapist a couple days ago and like this happened, and it's like all these things that normally, like if my body was normal, would not affect me, like it all does. So like my emotional health translates to my physical health in
Yep.
a way that's really annoying and frustrating. And like now I'm in a fibromyalgia flare. So my whole body hurts and then I can't sleep. And I'm just in this like pain, insomnia, depression,
Yeah.
cycle. And I know, I have certain tools to sort of get myself out of it, but it's like, and when I'm out of it, like you explained it earlier, like pretty well. But like when you're in it, it's something, and when you're out of it, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And when you're, it's like, but I think it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes feel like when I'm in it, like I'm nothing.
I do.
So, so yeah, I'm in more therapy. I have a choice, right? I have choices. I know the things that will get me out of this. It's frustrating the time that it takes to get out of this, but it's like, I'm, you know,
You're not.
my only option is to get out of this.
Yeah.
So,
And you're acknowledging it and you're working on it, which
mhm,
is a
mhm.
huge step. And like I think it's a step a lot of people struggle to even make, like or to see that and go, okay, what am I, what am I doing here? How's this affecting me? What can I do about it? Because it's say, I think, a lot of people maybe deal with it in much more negative, not negatives, maybe a poor choice of words, but self-sabotaging ways that kind of hurt them and others. And but it's okay. I think maybe more of acknowledgement of the fact that like I think a lot more people than would maybe let on feel something like this at this time of year and kind
Yeah.
of like maybe recognizing that could really kind of help all of us.
I also think that having holidays at the end of the year, like a lot of times, what if we didn't have those, right? I think we've
Yeah,
talked about this a little bit. Like, would we celebrate Christmas if we didn't have to?
yeah,
But at the same time, it gives us something to do. It gives them it's an activity that's kind of
sure.
like built in. And I think holidays, not just Christmas, obviously, there are many end of year holidays, celebrating the shift to a new year.
Yeah,
So I think that, I complain about it, but at the same time, it's like a good thing, right?
yes. I think it's a necessary sort of survival tool for this
Yeah.
season, right?
Yes. I
Um,
think that's
because like,
why
yeah,
they're there.
yeah. And I think that, but like, and I think there's room for both of those things. We always talk about that holding like two conflicting concepts, and uh, I think it's just important not to, and I do know people who do this, and they are trying to help, where they're like, "It's Christmas, you should be happy," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck off." I don't say it quite that way, but that's kind of the intent of what I'm saying.
Yep,
Um, because it's like, yeah, I mean, that just kind of makes me feel more shit. It's like, or I'm the problem sort of thing. So it's just about finding some balance with that.
totally. Totally. So I guess like what is your favorite season?
Um, Probably spring.
Has it always been spring, like when you were a kid?
Probably summer when I was a kid. I used to quite like summer holidays and stuff like that. And there was that big
Yeah,
chunk of time that you got off and, all the sort of things you did then. But I think as I've gotten older, I really come to appreciate spring because like, spring also kind of covers my birthday and stuff like that. So it's like, it's just been a nice, like, and I really and I feel like our springs tend to be quite, at least, well, tend to be nice as it ever gets here. We tend to have nice-ish springs, and I quite like those. So yeah, I don't think I could put my finger on why exactly that's the case, but that's the one that I'm feeling most connected to.
hmm.
What about you?
I think right now mine is actually like, even though I'm like feeling it, I love fall here.
Yeah,
It used to be my least favorite season. But like it gets cold and it's really because I'm in the high desert, so it's like cold in the morning
yeah.
and then, nice during the day. And so like in the morning walking out with my cup of coffee and just like feeling the air and seeing like a clear sky and like the sun peeks up over the mountain. It's nice.
I,
Um
yeah.
the
I,
winds come and I like that we get the Santa Ana winds that come up the
yes.
valley and I love it all. I love it all.
I like I do, and I think that is one of the things. It's one of the reasons why I need to like not walk around with headphones quite as much. It's like there's certain tactile things that I really kind of love, or I mean, they're just sense-based things that I love that are part of the season. Like you say, all the stuff you were talking about there. Like I really kind of love a kind of nice, fresh coating of snow and taking Sasha out and just like crunching through the snow together. It's just lovely. But all too often that's not the reality of snow. Instead, it's like, a mixture of snow and rain, and it's all slushy and it hardens and it forms ice and you slip everywhere and it's actually a nightmare. So, but I think all seasons bring things like that as well. Like we fall right now, we have such lovely leaf fall and things like that, and we're filled, lots of yellows and oranges and browns and stuff, and it's just really nice. It's just really nice going through the area that I took you through when you were over staying is covered in leaves right now, and it's just
Mhm.
beautiful. I'll send you a picture actually if you want to put it up because I want the dog that I was walking. I've got a picture of those two playing in the leaves, and it's just like so nice.
Yes, please do. Yeah, nothing's changed here. I guess like springtime, it is nice here because we do get like super blooms, they call them,
Uh-huh.
where like the whole hillside will become like
Oh,
purple or
mm.
orange.
I love that.
And about like these are like mountains, not
Hmm.
just hillsides. But um, so I like looked into like seasons and their meaning.
Hmm.
So fall we're sensing a shift in your so it says basically you're sensing a shift in your life and preparing for what's to come. Early winter, we retreat, we reflect, we reconnect with our deep nature. Winter solstice, catching sparks of hope in the darkness.
Ooh,
Ah,
exotic.
that comes with a box of tissues.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it's a tiny
Ah,
spark in this void of
right.
black.
Are you right? And then late winter, exploring and experimenting to firm up your vision for the future.
Okay.
And I get it, right? It's like this like what do we learn from the seasons? And it's like, okay, it's like the the death and rebirth cycle.
Yeah.
Unless what is it, annual and perennial, which is the one that lives year round.
Oh God.
It's like
Annual, I
opposite, right?
believe. Yes, I think so.
I don't
Annual.
remember. Look in the Mind Garden.
Okay, I'm
What
on it.
happened
I'm
to
on
Doug,
it.
our researcher?
I know. God damn it, Doug. I haven't seen him for weeks, and he's still taking a paycheck.
I know.
Son of a bitch. Uh,
But like, not only that, it's like I was looking at the cycle, and it was some through some science like hippie website, but it looked like the golden mean or whatever, that
yeah,
Fibonacci sequence, like that also is part of the seasons.
yeah.
So it's all connected, man.
So I figured it out.
Okay,
Annual plants live for one growing season, while
right.
perennials live for multiple growing seasons. So they'll lose their leaves or they'll go into like a hibernation form and then come back in
hmm
future years.
hmm So I think that like that is also a human experience
Yeah, yeah,
that we are all having.
yeah, yeah. It's true. So intense,
And I
man.
think I think it is intense, but I think part of it is like recognizing that it's happening and
Yeah,
like doing the annoying thing where like I recognize it, I see it, I'm observing myself like having this experience
yes,
and and then you can put some things into action and like
yeah.
help yourself along the way.
Uh, or alternatively, just take the drink, just become a raging alcoholic. I'm joking. I'm not advocating that. Don't
It's
do
the
that.
holidays.
It is the
There's a drink for
holidays. It
everything.
is. It's Prosecco
Is
o'clock.
eggnog a thing for you
Not
guys?
really. No,
Okay.
I don't. I feel like I've encountered it a few times here, but by and large, it is not. I've always been kind of curious about it
Have you
because
ever
we.
had it?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, we can make it from scratch for you sometime. It's really like it's weird. It's
Like,
like nutmeg and egg and
yeah,
milk, cinnamon.
and is there alcohol in it?
That's but for adults, yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay.
what
Okay.
people put like I
Whiskey
think rum,
or
rum,
rum? Okay.
rum.
Yeah, I can see rum working in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because I think
it's definitely a thing.
we have these things called like egg custards that are like a kind of sweet treat that I think is a similar sort of mixture, except it's like served in like a pastry cup and hardened and like baked. So
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
It's
Yeah.
I mean the whole title is disgusting, but
Yeah, it
do you
is.
want some eggnog? Like, fuck,
No.
sure. Sure do.
No. Uh,
Um, so
mhm.
how do you experience the changing of the seasons? Are you like, woo?
Um, I truly okay. So most of my filter for seasons is based on whether I can wear shorts or not, right? Because I
I
love wearing
see that.
shorts.
Yes, you do.
I guess I do. So like
Even if you have to wear leggings underneath.
yeah. Even if it means I don't get to go on nights out, I wear shorts. Oh, we talked about that story, didn't we? Oh, here we did. We did.
No,
I think we did. So like basically whenever I was in Mexico,
you
I
made
was
a choice
no, when I was I did when when I went to
mm.
Mexico, I was
And
gonna
you
go
only
on
brought
one of
shorts and
the
there was a
yeah.
dress code.
There was somehow I was like, okay, everybody, get ready, guys. You need to wear long trousers. It's like for a pub crawl, okay. And I had brought no long trousers with me at all. I just hadn't. It's like why would I bother? So yeah, so like one of the things I really loved about my time in Korea and Taiwan is how like I could basically wear shorts, especially in Taiwan for about 10 months out of the year. It was so good.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
I you know, it's definitely temperature based for me. I just kind of love also because, I and the job that I've chosen in recent years, and obviously I've had Sasha for as long as I've had, I am always outdoors.
Yeah.
So it's just that's kind of the lens through with which I see it. It's easier to be out in the summer and in the spring, to an extent the fall, but like winter, just it's such a roll of the dice in terms of it could be really bad rain, it could be snowing, it could be really cold, or it could be icy. So I think it's through that lens, how easy it is to kind of navigate the outdoors is how I kind of notice those changes.
It's interesting. I remember before I got long COVID, Like I was just like, all right, like, and we got a dog, and I was like, all right, I gotta walk the dog every day, no matter
Yeah.
what. And so I'd never really like forced myself to go for a walk in the wintertime, but it was like I wore my dry suit undergarment
Yeah.
for diving and then like a total like rain gear. And I was like, dog, you're gonna get wet and like you have to walk in the wet leaves and like sorry that you're in the gutter and it's really full.
Where and the
And
dogs
like,
are the dog's like, yeah, got
yeah.
her.
And she was like, no, it's
Really? Did she not
good.
like
Yeah,
it?
she no. So then she was like running in the middle of the road. Anyways, so but like forcing myself to like be outside, and I did
Yeah.
that for 6 months probably because we got her in August of 2019, and
Hmm.
then I got sick in 2020s. But it was like I had to do it, and actually it made it far less uh of an upsetting time of year to
Yeah.
be outside in it,
Hmm.
which I didn't anticipate. So that would be like something for people that aren't mobility challenged, like just get outside for
Yeah.
like 10-minute walk every day if you can, and that will change your attitude a lot.
It definitely helps.
Not that you
Uh,
have an attitude, but you know what I mean.
yeah. It depends. I just bury it down.
Right.
Yeah, funny, I was bought a dry robe um earlier on this year, but just as it was coming into the summer, and this is my first winter with it, and it has already been incredibly valuable,
What the
really.
fuck is a dry robe?
Okay, so a dry robe is kind of like
It's like a
a
raincoat?
yes, but it has a fluffy inside. It's kind of designed for people who maybe go because like right, cold water swimming's a big thing over here.
Uh-huh.
So people
But
like
that big like
yes,
Olympic
and
coat?
it's
Okay.
huge. Like it goes down, it's below my knees. It's got a hood. It like zips all the way up to like, just your mouth essentially. It's I like see for days when I have for days whenever I have like I don't know what the weather's going to be like, having that in the car is just as an amazing catch-all to be like, okay, I am nothing's touching
Ready
me.
for all the things.
My shoes will maybe be soaked, but apart from that, it's all good. Are you hearing those dudes?
No.
Okay.
It might wait, that?
No, it's people pinging me on something, but I'm gonna deal with it now. Okay, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Okay. You can do as you need. Okay, so what is it that you find like easier about embracing certain seasons?
Um, that's a good question.
Like,
I like, I love social stuff and I love having an excuse to do things with friends. Um, so like they're all and I find that one of the good things about winter months or the colder months is that it suits a lot of the hobbies I enjoy, so board games and things like that. So, me being sort of like a ranger that I am, I'm like, okay, so, it's winter time, organize those sorts of things, those indoor things, both, not, going out and then doing the indoor things, if that makes sense, but
yeah.
also, doing things in my own home. So if like, party lined up, I've got a board game night lined up in the next few weeks. Whereas, over the summer and things like that, organizing trips with people, so like I try to like just cater it based on what the situation is.
Hmm. I like that. And it's like it's action, which you
Yes,
definitely
I thrive
like
on.
that. You do. You do. I think for me it's more visual probably.
Yeah.
It's like the things that like okay, like things are blooming, so that means like, you
Hmm.
know, or all the leaves are falling in the pool. Not
Yes.
going to complain
No.
about it because
No.
Mike does all that shit. But but like, yeah, the super blooms. And I'm not saying I don't walk around with my iPods in my ears like
Sure.
90% of the time. Um, but I will take 30 seconds and like go outside and be like, this is nice.
Yeah.
And sniff that cold air and then walk inside and like put my earbuds back in or whatever. Um, so I guess yeah, that's like just 30 seconds if you can.
Yeah. it makes all the
Don't overdo
difference.
it and be like,
No.
I have to be in my own head for 45 minutes on this walk without
Yeah.
any, like, I would not go for a walk if I didn't have iPads.
Yeah. It's
And
yeah,
be in my own brain for that amount of time. It's
yeah.
insane.
My earbuds broke recently and I was like, oh my God. And I do have another set of headphones, but they're massive and they're gonna do the job until I can get a new pair. But like I remember whenever one of the things my therapist talked about was just like how you walk with your dog every day, and I'm like, yeah. And she goes like, oh, you know, how do you walk? And I'm like, well, put my headphones in. And she goes, well, here's what you need to do. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, it's just like I take at least one walk a week without them. And I was doing it okay for a while, and then it was just like, no, this isn't working for
Five
me anymore.
minutes, like 3 minutes, pause it for 30 seconds. Like, don't over, like,
I
it's
yeah,
the, it's the people that slash and burn. It's like,
yes. I like and
we
I've
have
had
to
some.
be in our own heads.
Yes. I've had some I've had some success with it, and sometimes like, you know, I run out of charge with my headphones or whatever, and like I haven't had that, and I don't have that, and it's like it's okay, but I also hate not having the option one way or another. And I have noticed after an hour of walking, I will near the end of the walk think about how my thoughts have been and where I'm at currently, and it's nearly always in a negative space, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. So I
Interesting.
can't be trusted to be thinking my own thoughts, to be honest with you.
That's, yeah,
So yeah,
same, same.
yeah.
Um, so what does seasonal change mean to you? Like, what do you learn from it, I guess?
Um, I guess it has been an ongoing experience in that regard, in that I suppose it's how your body reacts. Like I've certainly noticed that, and certainly as I get older and like, certain injuries and stuff I have, how they affect you depending on the seasons and
Yeah.
stuff. That's definitely a part of it. But it's also kind of like I noticed through time how, you know, I remember loving this time of year. And it took me to be like an adult, well, very young kid, of course, but then I kind of was jaded, as a very cool teenager. But then I
Right.
loved it again in my 20s, and now I'm back in a more of a negative place with it all. And I suppose it's just about learning to kind of, see that these things aren't a fixed space or a fixed kind of experience, and just kind of like trying to ride the waves of it, noticing the changes without you, and kind of what you can do to kind of help you navigate that, I guess.
Yeah. I think just to like jump off of that, I think it's like change is inevitable and like managing change is one of the hardest things to do as a human being.
Yes,
So it's like it puts it into practice whether or not you want to practice it at all.
it's
It's like
true.
you have to, right? You have to put on warmer clothes and
Yeah.
not walk around in shorts unless you're
Boo.
Andy, right? But like it's forced change.
Yeah.
And that can be painful and that can not feel good and that can be annoying and that can be, all the things. But it can also be beautiful
Yeah. Like,
or something.
or something. But I think that, like, I don't think I have ever met a person who doesn't hate change to some sort of degree, right? And it's completely unavoidable, you know?
Right. I always go back to like the deathbed, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm so grateful for all that change that happened in my life.
Yes. It's true. I know.
No one's gonna say that.
No, absolutely not. But so it's just about thinking about that. It's just thinking about that, I think, more than anything. But yeah, I'm sure I had another thing to say, but it's gone. It'll maybe come back to me. Do you have any other kind of thoughts or
Mm,
questions on that?
I think just going back to like coping strategies, like, sometimes I'll make like a short term, like 3 month goal of like, okay, the next 3 months, maybe I want to focus on, I'd like to read a book. Like that would be a good,
Yeah.
something that's like, for me, I'm not as social as you.
Hmm.
Um, that said, like I have children, and so like that's I get
Yeah.
there's a lot of tiny expectations.
Yes.
Um, so like tiny goal setting, also not being hard on myself for like
Yeah,
how I'm feeling, which is easier said than done.
true.
But really like working, being like, okay, I don't feel good, but that doesn't mean X, Y, and Z. You're just not feeling good. And like that's what it is. Um, and like I think for me, like just being aware, conscious observation and kind of making it a habit to notice the little changes that happen outside,
Yeah,
you know,
no, that's
because
good.
if you see it happening outside your body and outside your life, like it isn't as ugly and scary.
Yeah, it's so true.
Unless it's like a forest fire, but
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
or a
yeah.
hurricane.
There's some sort of, yeah,
Right. Like
catastrophic event.
natural, all in the right time kind of
Yeah.
changes.
What do they call them? Acts of God, isn't that it? Acts of
Uh-huh.
God is
Uh-huh.
the general
Uh-huh.
sort of weather phenomenon. Yeah, I like that.
For
It's a good way of
insurance
looking at it.
companies, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, well, this isn't technically an act of God.
I
We
know.
uh we worship the Greek gods here. They actually control the weather.
Right.
So technically, yeah. Fun.
Was the pandemic an act of God?
This is true. Probably
Uh,
the sneaky bastard that he
yeah, I know, right?
is. But yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's a good sort of chat and sort of way to kind of maybe cap that off. Um,
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
yeah, I don't know if I do have any other thoughts on it. So yeah, that'll be good. Okay. In that case, shall we get into our favorite bit, which is oh no. Okay, it's all right. I nearly had a tech disaster there, but we're all good. Okay. So, shall we get into our favorite section, which is what's been bringing you joy this week?
Yes. Okay. I can't remember when I watched this. Had I watched The Substance, but when we talked
No.
last? Okay. So I watched it.
How'd you find it?
I liked it.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the way it was kind of billed was like campy,
Sure.
comedic. And I didn't really see the comedy in
Yep.
it. I wasn't really laughing,
No, I
but
can understand that.
it was like it grabs you and pulls you in and just like,
I think like the last 20 minutes are manic, like in a kind of
yeah,
comedy way. And like,
yeah.
I think we can all talk about the last 20 minutes in particular because
No.
it's the wildest part of
Yeah,
the
it's
movie.
like it is. It's like so out there. It's kind of like The Boys where you're just like, "Oh my God, like did
Yep.
that gross thing just happen?" Yes, of course it did.
Hmm.
So, and obviously like I get the messaging behind the movie and I
Hmm.
appreciated it for sure. I thought the casting was really good.
Yep.
I thought Demi Moore, Demi Moore,
Yep.
Demi Moore, did a really, really good job.
Yeah, she's
And so
fantastic.
did Margot Qualley.
Margaret Qualley, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw her being interviewed and she was like, I've done like three films this year and not one of them could I really let any of my family see because it was like she did two of Yorgos Lanthimos films, Poor Things, Kinds of
mhm.
Kindness.
I saw
Both.
Kinds of Kindness too.
Oh, how did you find that?
You know,
It's a harder.
yeah, it's definitely like I think sometimes directors do movies for themselves
Yes.
because it's something that there's something that they want to explore and they want to
Yes.
do it, and it's different than like I think certain things could like you could always try and throw it on a stage and make it a play, and
Yeah.
maybe that would have been a better play than movie. Like that's how it kind of read to me or
Yeah.
felt. It felt like it could have been a stage piece. Um, but I just love Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. It's
And
so
like
good. No.
he was these characters that like you're just like it was like I love him and all of the things that he does because he plays the part so well.
Hmm.
And the characters that he is in this made me so freaking uncomfortable.
Uh, yeah. Like, I really kind of love the comedy elements of kinds of kindness, like, and
Yeah.
like him as like the almost a cult leadery type thing, when like,
Yeah.
who wants to have sex with me now, and all this sort of.
Yeah.
It was great. And
Yes.
the other bit that I really loved was whenever they just like, I don't know, have an offhand comment about like a dog sitcom or so I can't fucking remember. And one of the end credit sequences, one of the story is just dogs living like in a, like a sitcom, sort of like a dog world, like like buying a house and like going driving, like sailing a speedboat and things like that. Yeah,
Yep.
it really
Yep.
tickled me.
Yep. And
So
then you
yeah,
see it.
yeah. Then you see it. It's okay. So yeah, yeah. They're both substance and like I really um really enjoyed it. I actually saw Heretic, which was
Oh, okay. I've
quite
been reading
enjoyable.
about it and like
Yeah.
obsessing over Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he's very good in it, and it's an interesting idea. I think like so many films I've seen recently, maybe the last like 20 minutes or so, I think it's one of the hardest things to do in making a film is having a satisfying ending, and I think it struggles with that a wee bit, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. But yeah, I'm glad you saw The Substance. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
trip. It's a trip. There's much else like it. Um, yeah, I love it. I actually saw, so Beth, is while you're watching your filth, I went to see The Wild Robot at the weekend.
Did you
And of
cry?
course I cried.
I
Cried
don't know what
multiple
it's
times.
about, but I'm assuming the robot dies or the dog dies.
No, so there's no dog, thankfully. It's based on a children's book. But basically there's this robot who um gets washed ashore on this island, and the island has all these different animals on it, and he ends up um get involved in an accident that crushes this kind of kills this goose and kills or crushes her eggs apart from one egg. He feels responsible, or the robot, sorry, not he, the robot feels responsible for the egg and kind of starts to raise it, and that's kind of the story. But it was lovely, yeah. Um,
Does
uh,
anybody die?
um, yes,
Okay.
but I'll say that it's more people die, but it's not like Bambi's mother dying, that
Okay.
sort of
Okay.
thing. It's not that sort
Okay.
of it's not like that, but there is
It's not
definitely
like
a sense.
traumatic.
No, there is definitely a sense of peril, and I think that actually ends up in quite a sweet note. I mean, obviously there's sad bits, but it ends up in quite a lovely place. So I really enjoyed that. I've also been really enjoying. I don't know how I got this. This is something I was talking to Beth about before the podcast. But I've been watching a lot of like Parks and Recreation clips, and like I really love that show, and I watched it all, and I loved it. And I think in recent years, I've been like, no, I don't know how good it was, but just watching some of the clips, I'm reminded of how funny it is and how good it was in a lot of places. But I watched a John Ralphio supercut, and one of the lines he used that made me laugh so hard was because it just went a completely different direction than I thought it was going to. Have you seen Parks and Recreation, or are you familiar
I've
with it?
I've watched like three
Okay,
episodes. Like I tried it with Mike and he was like, eh.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, watch it by myself, but I never came back to it.
no, I
But
and
it's like they all went out and became like amazing actors and
exactly. It's
yeah,
so much talent in there,
I
but
love them all.
John Ralphio was like this kind of asshole, kind of scumbag who's a friend of like Aziz Ansari's character, and he's just like he's the pits. He's like I'm trying to think somebody to compare him to. It doesn't matter. Anyway, one of the female characters, and he's like, I guess setting up a stage show, and he goes, "I hope you brought a change of clothes because your eyes are about to piss tears." It's like put these lights on. It's just like wow. It was very funny. It made me laugh a lot. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying that, and I've been like, oh, you know what, that was a good show. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
been
are
making me
certain
happy.
shows that are definitely like worth a rewatch. I
Yeah.
do Arrested Development. Maybe every
Yes.
like 4 years,
Yeah.
I'll get back into that. And it just so clever.
It is. It's a
It like
great show.
always holds up. If you're sad, watch Arrested Development.
Yes.
Because yeah, it's like
Eh,
30 Rock. Just this like it's so fast almost that you can't
yes.
there's the
Oh,
jokes are just like flying by and you get half of them kind of thing.
and they're so like like, and there's so many like amazing, like really weird subplots that are just like unexplained. Like the whole Carl Weathers as being his acting teacher. And like every time he's introduced, it like shows pictures of him and Predator like getting blown up. And he had a whole thing where he was like he he didn't like want to waste anything, so it would be at a party and like somebody was throwing away some chicken bones. He goes, no, 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 keep that. I'll take that home with me. Yeah, it was great. Such a good show. Love it. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think that is us at the end of our show. Could you let everybody know where they can find us,
You
please?
can find us at bendypodcast.com.
Ooh,
And thanks to
fancy.
all who are watching our videos on Spotify,
Yeah,
which feels weird to say, but
there you
watching our
go.
videos on an audio
Exactly.
platform.
Who do you
Thank
think you
you.
are? Wise
I
guys
know.
watch videos on an audio platform. But yeah, I love it. Okay, guys. And in that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to stay
Stay
bendy.
and
Right.
start harmonizing that. All right.
Hel-
Love you
Hello,
guys.
bye. Love you.
Bye,
Bye.
bye,
Bye.
bye, bye. That's good.